This video is about meta tags, and meta tags are a way for you to include data about the data that's in your website in the header part of your website. So this is information that can inform future users, future programmers about what's in your website and how it was created. And it's also a way to inform the browser about things like the encoding content that you used and other things. What I have here and what I'm going to illustrate are some of the most common values and attributes. Now, the meta tag takes two basic forms. One, as you can see here on line 6, is the tag meta, and we can see it's an empty tag. There's no ending tag. We just put the backslash at the end of the tag. And the attributes here are name. So you give a name, and we'll talk about the different names that are used here, and then we give the content. The other form of the meta tag down here on line 12 is the http-eqiv, HTTP equivalent, and that tells the browser a few things about what's going on in your page. And so the main tags we use there are content type and expires, and I have to change this here because this is incorrect. Expires and refresh. And so we're going to go over these in depth here in this video, and hopefully you'll learn a little bit about meta tags. Of course, this is not comprehensive, but it does give you a good starting point for meta tags. And the other thing to note is meta tags do not show up in your browser in any form or fashion. Think about it as metadata, as data about data, information about your page. Okay, so the first meta tag here is author. The name attribute is given author, and then the content, and I have my name here because this is the web page that I created. So you put a name in there, and that lets future users, future developers, even yourself, know who created the web page. And that will be helpful in if you're collaborating and trying to keep track of doing a multi-developer site, or even keep track of your own notes. The next one is meta tag. The name is description, and you give a description of your page. And so this is actually the content part here is actually what shows up in the Google search engine or other search engines that look for your page. So I'm going to give an example here. I tried to give an example of this particular page, but because of where my server is, Google search engine couldn't pick it up. So I want to use an example that was in the book. If you go over here to the browser, if you look, this is a web page that one of the authors of one of the books in the class did. And so this is their page about one of the books that they created. If you go over here and view the source of the page, if you notice, they put in here in their meta tag description, and that's right here. It says the content is author's website for building Java programs, a textbook designed for use in the first course in computer science. Okay, so now let's go to the Google search engine and try to search this page. Let's do a search here on building Java programs. If we do a search on that, if you notice here, scroll up, there you go. If you notice here, when the Google search comes back for this particular page, it says author's website for building Java programs, textbook design for use in a first course in computer science. So therefore, what they put in description here is what's showing up in the search here. So now with this meta tag, you have a way to control what comes up in terms of the information or the description of your web page when a browser like Google finds it. So that's very helpful in designing professional web pages. Okay, so back over here to the HTML, you can also do keywords, and so once again you do the name, and the particular name here is keywords, and the content you put in keywords about your web page that you wanted to find. So when you do a search, this will try to help your web page bubble up to the top. Now, this is a tag that was, or a method that was very much misused by a lot of web developers and trying to drive traffic to their sites. And so some browsers tend to ignore if you do things called keyword stuffing or keyword loading in this particular meta tag. So this is sort of a controversial thing about how do you drive traffic to your site. So be careful in using this, but you can put certain keywords in here to attract search engines to your particular site. Line 9, it's generator. So this is notes to sort of say who generated, or what software, forgive me, what software was used to generate your web page. This could be helpful if you use something like Dreamweaver and things like that, which would give the future coders or people who review your site or your HTML explanation as to why certain tags were included or what have you. I have designed this site with Notepad++, and so that's what I put here. On line 10, you can once again let future developers know, future users of your site know when it was last revised. And so you can put a date in here with the revised name. Next in line 12, we talk about HTTP equivalents. One is content type. We're going to come back to this when we talk about, in a video, when I talk about validation. The validators use this a lot to understand the type of file that you intended the browser to view and the type of character set. So one of the standards is text, HTML, and for content, and then tell it what character set. This is different. You do this differently with HTML5 than you do it with prior versions of HTML. When we get to the validator, I'll sort of go into that a little bit deeper. But this is a standard meta tag for letting the browser know that you're doing HTML. Another meta tag, HTTP equivalent, lets the user know or developers know when the page actually expires. So you can tell it when the page is out of date. So you may have information on your page that's time sensitive, but you want future developers, users to know when the actual information goes out of date. So that's how you do that. And then this next one, we've probably all seen using a website. It allows you to redirect your website or to refresh it in a certain number of seconds. So what you do is you put refresh here as the label, as the information for the HTTP equivalent label, and then in content you give it a number, as I did here. I gave it the number 10, which tells it the number of seconds, and then semicolon, and then the URL to redirect to. So if I load this web page, what's going to happen is after 10 seconds, it's going to redirect this web page to this URL, which happens to be the Nike website. This could be helpful if your content does go out of date, if you have a web page that is embedded deeply in a website, but you want to change where it goes without having to change a lot of stuff. This is a very convenient meta tag to use. So let's sort of see this in action. I'm going to pull this website up here in the browser, and you can see here it says this page shows examples of meta tags. The refreshed meta tag will redirect this page to Nike's homepage in about 10 seconds. And so hopefully that took me about 10 seconds to read, and there it goes. It redirects the page without you clicking anything to the Nike website or to any page that you desire. So this is just an overview of meta tags and how they're used. As I said, we're going to see a little bit more when we talk about validation in the next videos. And so, but hopefully this is a good introduction to meta tags.